In this video, we're going to read number line diagrams and then turn them into inequalities. So if we look at number 1, our first example, this arrow is showing us where x is. So we're looking to get x. Now, the most important bit is to see where the diagram is bounded. So it stops at -2, so that's our important number. Now we need to work out if x is going to be bigger than -2 or smaller than -2. And because the arrow is going in this direction and all these numbers are smaller than -2, we know that x is going to be less than -2, so we put our less than sign. So x is less than -2. Yep, that fits. One thing we need to look at is this circle here. Now, because it's open, that means that it does not include -2. So it does not include. So because it doesn't include it, it means it's not equal to -2. So it can be anything, x can be anything less than -2, but not -2. Now if we look at our second example over there, again we're looking for x. And we look at our important number, and that's going to be here because that's where our circle is, so that's going to be 3. So now we need to work out what direction our arrow is going in, see whether it's more than or less than. So because it's going in this direction, it's looking at numbers that are bigger than 3, so it's pointing at 4, 5, 6. So we're going for x is more than 3 this time. X is more than 3. Now, again, the important thing we need to look at is this. And this time it's filled in. So in my key, I'm going to fill it in. And that means it does include. So in this case, it does include 3. So that means I need to alter this slightly. So x is bigger than or equal to 3 because it can include 3. And that satisfies that diagram. Now finally, we've got number 3, which is a bit like a mathematical sandwich because we've got x in the middle, so I'm going to put it there. And then we've got, that's our filling, and then we've got our 2 pieces of bread on either end. And in this case, we're going to just write them down. We've got 1 as this piece of bread and -2 as that one. So the thing we need to do now is just check whether x can be more or less than -2 and more or less than 1. So because we've got x in the middle here, we know that x is always going to be bigger than -2. So -2 is going to be smaller than x. So -2 is less than x because x is always going to be bigger. And then as we move up, we know that x is going to be smaller than 1 because 1 is going to be our highest point. So x is smaller than 1. So that's correct at the moment, but what we need to do is check our ends. So because this -2 is filled in, that means that x can include -2, so x can equal -2. So x is bigger than or equal to -2. But at this end, we've got an open circle, which means it does not include, so x cannot be 1, but it can be -2. So x is anything between -2 or equal to -2, all the way up to 1, but not including 1. Now, one last tip for you is that when you have a question with x between the two numbers, our signs are always going to go in the same direction when it's between. Okay, so that's why these two signs are pointing in the same direction. And that's something just for you to check when you've answered the question. And if they're pointing in different directions, then you know that you've gone wrong.
Okay, Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? all these together in one place?
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.